Welcome back to Girl Out of Order. I am recording episode 99. I cannot believe it. We are literally peaking at episode 100. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you're seeing me wear my first ever merch. That's right. I've made my first ever sweatshirt, Girl Out of Order podcast. It's hot pink. It's got the phoenix rising from the ashes, because that's what we do, sisters. We rise from the ashes of whatever tried to burn us up, take us out, take us down. We rise, we keep rising, and we keep building incredible, incredible lives. So thank you for joining me for episode 99. We are in a little tiny mini series called What I Know for Sure. And it's based on the book that I'm reading, and I'm holding up if you're on YouTube. It's a book by Oprah Winfrey. It's this beautiful green little mini book, and it has just captivated me over the last couple weeks. So last week, what I recorded was, what I know for sure is that the only way you'll guarantee that you'll lose or fail rather, is if you quit. And so this week, I've got something a little bit similar, but a twist on it. And it's something that I have heard from women over the many years of working with them. It's a familiar refrain, a familiar feeling, a familiar way of denying ourselves in the quest to fit into what we think we should be, do, have, dream, believe. You can fill in the blank. But before we dive into this week's episode, actually this second episode of the week, before we dive into that, I want to just ask you to please, please, please celebrate with me. Girl Out of Order's almost 100 episodes. I am so, so proud. I am so excited. I love this global community. And I would just ask you to please share this podcast wherever you listen, whether it's on Apple or Spotify or Amazon or whatever platform you listen to this podcast. Please share it. Please rate and review it. Let's get the word out. Let's share this podcast, this message of what it means to be a girl out of order in today's world, because this world needs us. Oh my goodness gracious, does this world need a tribe of girls out of order, women that are no longer denying a single beautiful part of themselves in the quest to fit into a mold they were never designed to fit into. That's you, that's me, and we want to build this community. We want to expand our reach. I get so excited when I see women downloading the Girl Out of Order podcast. I saw a woman download it in Bangladesh, and women in Canada and Japan and Ireland and Switzerland and on the continent of Africa. We are a global community, and I want to create a global movement of women that are committed to cultivating bravery to build these and design these gorgeous lives. I want to create a community and be part of a community of women who go out into this world and they live boldly into who they know they are. And especially poignant right now, I want to build a community of women that builds bridges among other women, no matter what. We need this message right now more than ever before, sisters, because our world is so divided and women are divided against one another. And I want to be a woman who sows peace, a woman who is a bridge builder, who brings women together no matter what differences we may have. So will you join me with that? Will you join me in getting this podcast further out into this universe? Share it with somebody you love, somebody who could use this encouragement, because what I'm sharing today is so challenging, even for me, even as I record my 99th episode, even as I'm getting ready to take the stage and speak at the Own It Women's Conference, even as I'm running my law firm. What I'm about to share with you today still is a challenge that I am working to overcome every single day. And I want to share it with you because as I was reading this entry, I was like, yep, I know this for sure. And the thing about women, let's just dive right in. Let me just tell you what the topic is today before I keep going and going, because I'm excited. Can you tell? Because this is a really important message. The topic today is what I know for sure is that we cannot ignore the nudge. That's what I know for sure. Because when we ignore the nudge, we settle for less than we were designed for. We settle for less than we deserve. When we ignore that nudge on our spirits, on our souls, that pull towards something different than what we're doing and feeling and being and achieving at this point, when we settle for less than that and we ignore that nudge, it's not the life we were designed for. And it's not the life that the world needs us to live. So I read this entry in Oprah's beautiful little book. And if you're on YouTube, I can show you I've got highlights. I've got lots of notes. I'm a huge proponent of highlighting the you know what out of your books that you're reading. And yes, I like to hold books. I like to read books. I like audiobooks for novels. But when it comes to my personal development, I will listen to an audiobook, but I truly feel like I know I get more out of it when I can highlight things and I can go back over it and I write out in the margins. Sometimes I just regurgitate what I have read, and sometimes I write my reflections. So I want to just share this entry to this don't ignore the nudge message. Oprah was sharing about how she's not, actually, I don't even need to share Oprah's, what she was sharing, because honestly, it's the same for me. So I'm just going to share how I feel about thrills, how I feel about adventure. I'm working on expanding my enjoyment of uncertainty. I am working on embracing variety, and I'm working on stepping outside of my comfort zone. And if I'm being really honest, I'm not a thrill seeker. There are some people out there who are like, I can't wait to jump out of an airplane. And others who are like, I'm going to ride in a hot air balloon over the Serengeti. All those things sound interesting, but when it comes right down to it, I like to keep my 2 feet on the ground. So I've never been a huge thrill seeker. And recently when I was in Utah, with the True Legacy Collective, the TLC Mastermind ladies. When I was in Utah, we were doing, I may have already told this story in this podcast. So if I have, just, ride the wave, I'll tell you again. But we were in these, I guess you'd call them dune buggies. That's the only phrase I can think of, or the only description I can think of. And we were doing sand surfing. I don't know if you've ever done sand surfing. Super fun. I just decided to sit on the surfboard because I was not about to have myself another surgery since I've had 4 on my lower half in the last 5 years. So I sat on it, went down this really steep sand hill. Super fun. And then everybody was like, oh, hey, the guys will take you around and then you can drive down the hill. And I'm like, oh, that sounds kind of sort of fun. We'll give it a go. So I got Adventure Bob. I have no idea what his first name was, but his first legal name, I'm pretty confident his first name is Adventure, because this man was enjoying himself. He got us in that dune buggy and it was like, choom, just took off. And I'm like, we're going around the curve and I'm thinking, this is really fast. I mean, this is super fast. I'm feeling like it's fast. I'm feeling a little queasy. Nope, Christine, you're going to embrace adventure. You're going to embrace variety. You're going to love these thrills. And for the most part, even though we were tearing around the corner and I keep telling myself, nope, it's not going to flip over. Nope, this is not how it ends. I do not end in a sandhill. I do not break my neck. I talked myself through it. I was very proud of myself. And then we come around this corner and he speeds up. And all I can see is where the sand dune meets the skyline. And he's going full speed ahead towards this drop off. And I'm thinking, okay, now this is absolutely how it ends. You have to understand, I do not like roller coasters. I do not like things that drop. I don't like sudden drops. When I'm in an elevator, every once in a while, I have to talk myself out of thinking it's going to plummet to the ground. I know I've got issues. I'm aware of that. However, not a thrill seeker, right? So I'm thinking, I can't stop this guy. He is going to take us off this cliff. And I have to believe that he knows what he's doing, but everything in me says, I'm going to die. And so I made a decision in that split second moment to squeeze onto the bar for dear life, close my eyes, and just let it happen. And we went off this cliff. I guess it's not a cliff. I'm probably being dramatic. Off this sandhill, but it felt like a cliff. We were airborne, and I'm thinking, I'm just really hoping when we come down, we're on our four wheels. We were, and it was actually kind of exhilarating. Still don't want to do it again. Very proud of myself for embracing adventure and not a thrill seeker. So what does this have to do with listening to the nudge? Well, Oprah opens up her little entry here by talking about how the fact that she's not a big thrill seeker either. And then she says this quote, and it's our empowers for the week because it's truly beautiful and I think really sets the stage for what we're going to chat about. She says, the biggest thrill that you can ever achieve is to live the life of your dreams, sister. That's the biggest thrill you can ever achieve, is to live the life of your dreams. And so what happens when you ignore that nudge? What happens when you push away the tug on your heart to take the chance, to start the business, to record the podcast, to reach out to that person in the online dating world, to call your mom and mend the fences? When you ignore that nudge, you suspend your deepest desires and you don't live the life of your dreams. Oprah says over the years, she's obviously worked with, I don't even know, hundreds of thousands of women. And she has said that she's talked to so many that have suspended their deepest desires in order to accommodate everyone and everything else. I know I'm not alone here in relating to that statement. You see, when I had our first child, we had our first child, I birthed a child, as we know. It was a traumatic experience. It was like such a dream, though, to be a mom. It was better than I ever expected, and it was harder than I ever dreamed. And it was so hard because I was trying to fit the mold of every other young Christian wife and mom I saw around me. They were organizing their schedules and they were doing their menus, and they were all doing this baby wise parenting where they had table or blanket time and all these things that didn't fit the way my personality was. But I worked so hard to fit myself into those molds that I ignored the tugs on my heart, the nudges, even then, the nudges to parent the way I felt called to. So this goes back a very, very long time for me. This goes back to my childhood of wanting to fit in. I think women in particular have a desperate need to fit in and to shrink down so they don't offend anybody. As I've been thinking about coming up on this 100th episode, I've been going back and looking at all of these episodes over the years. And there was one mini series I did called Sorry, Not Sorry. And it's about the apologizing epidemic in women. And I brought on my daughter, Chloe, to talk about how I raised them to not apologize unless there was actually something to be sorry for. And I just believe that there is an epidemic among female human beings to suspend their desires in the quote unquote service of other people and other things, but anything other than what they actually want, need, or desire. As a young mom in a conservative church, I was often told that I was too prideful. I wasn't submissive. I put my needs over the needs of my children. I got a lot of flack for being me. I got a lot of flack for being athletic, for taking care of myself, taking my kids to the gym. I know that sounds kind of crazy right now. Even when I say it out loud, I'm like, that was kind of crazy. It doesn't matter what it is, because a lot of women face these unfamiliar and unlikable standards that other people put on us. And sometimes we put on ourselves. Let's be honest. We are active participants in our own rescue or our own captivity. And we allow ourselves to become captive to what everybody else needs, wants, and desires at the expense of our own. So what I know for sure, sisters, is that the key to living a beautiful, gorgeous, compelling, exciting, juicy life is to not ignore the nudge. It's to actually act on the nudge. It's to pursue the life of your dreams. So when a woman ignores this nudge, it's that whisper. It's that whisper that comes in the form of emptiness. Can you relate? Restlessness. Lord knows I can relate. That feeling of it's like everything just doesn't feel right. It's this nudge to finally, like Oprah says, get on with what you know you should be doing. Open the Etsy shop. Start shopping around for the real estate you want to invest in. What I would suggest you do, what I would invite you to do, is to not only listen to the nudge, but to follow the nudge, to get curious about the nudge. It's more than just listening. It's getting curious. It's asking, what is this restlessness? What is this emptiness I feel? I hear this from women all the time that I work with. I just feel, you could probably fill in the blank, stuck. We often feel stuck because we are excusing ourselves from what we should be doing and rationalizing away our dreams. It's easy to rationalize. I've done it. I still continue to do it. In the last couple weeks, my daughter Sophie broke her ankle and I had to drive her. I'm going to take another run at that. I got to drive her again to volleyball and back and forth to school. And I thought, dear God, am I out of shape from this? Because I haven't had to drive a kid around in a long time. And so what did I do? I actually kind of rationalized my lack of productivity on my dreams. I'm talking about things that are really important to me, like this podcast and my law firm and my speaking thing. I would rationalize away pursuing and doing the hard things because, I got to take care of Sophie. She needs me. I've got to go get her. Oh my gosh, I must get her. She needs me. Oh, does she need me again? Oh, I better sit with her. I'm not using that weird tone of voice to mock in any way, shape, or form. But what I'm trying to do is to help you understand that when you are looking for a way around the nudge, you're going to rationalize it, you're going to minimize it, and you're going to make excuses. So what I know for sure is that your compelling life waits right on the other side of the nudge. It waits right on the other side of taking action on what you know you want for your life. Oprah says it this way, and I just want to share this because I tried to think of a different way to say it, but I just can't. She said, but what happens when you work hard at something unfulfilling? When you say, I've got to go do this job, I got to pay my bills, even though it's killing me. It drains your spirit. It robs you of your life force. It keeps you depleted, depressed, and even angry. So, sister, you don't have to waste another day ignoring the nudge. What I know for sure, and I'm going to say it again, is that your compelling, beautiful, gorgeous, exciting life of contribution, growth, it waits right on the other side of the nudge. So don't just listen. Take action. Put your work boots on. Start stepping one little tiny step at a time, 2 millimeter shifts. Listen to the nudge. That's God. It's the Spirit. It's pushing you towards what you need to be doing to achieve the life of your dreams. Because like we said at the beginning of this podcast, the biggest thrill in life The biggest thrill you can possibly have is to live the life of your dreams, but you need to build it. It's not just going to come. You need to design it. You need to take action to create it. And it's waiting on the other side of the nudge. So I'll leave you with this last part because this was very convicting. You don't have to waste another day on that road. You get to begin again, sister. You do. You get to start over by looking inward and saying, what is that nudge? When I had this idea for this podcast back in 2021, I was going to put it off. I was talking to Keisha Get Married at the time, Keisha Fitzgerald. And I said, yeah, I think I'll start it by the time I'm 50. And she's like, yeah, when's that? I said, August. She goes, I don't think so. I don't think so. You're going to start that podcast as sooner than that. And I did. I started it within weeks of taking that course on April 1st. And it was messy and it was imperfect. And it was recorded in my car and in my closet. And I was still figuring things out. She was my nudge. She was my nudge to my nudge because I already had the nudge, but I was kind of ignoring it and putting it off and making excuses and setting arbitrary deadlines that really weren't taking action in the moment in state. So Oprah says, starting over means ridding yourself of distractions and paying attention to the inkling you've been ignoring. So sisters, on this 99th episode, I ask you, what is your nudge? What is that inkling you have? What is that whisper in your soul that you have been trying to ignore? Don't do it any longer. Your life awaits. I'm waiting for you. The world is waiting for you. Girl out of order, that's what you are. You listen to this podcast because you want a swift kick in the butt and a gigantic hug. Take the chance. The world is waiting for you. And like I always say, the world needs, girl, what only you can provide. So get out there and build that gorgeous life. I will see you for episode 100. Let's go. You're amazing. I love you. And we're in this together.